Welcome to the Gravel Paddock, the podcast that takes you directly inside a professional gravel peloton. I'm your host, Antonin Liverset, Sports Marketing Manager. Here we bypass the fluff and talk about what actually matters: raw race tactics, pro tech setup, and the unfiltered business of modern racing. From the UCI World on Gravel Earth Series to the American Monuments of the Lifetime Grand Prix, the race starts here. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome to the episode 9 of the Gravel Paddock. Today we are looking at a completely different pathway into the professional gravel peloton. My guest has represented his country twice at the Olympic Games in mountain biking before bringing his engine to the European gravel dirt. Welcome to the pod, Alex Miller. To start, let's rewind a bit because you have kind of different pathways, I said, from other riders that we are following on the European gravel scene. So you are multiple time national champion in Namibia. How did you first get into cycling, and what does the cycling culture look like back home compared to Europe?
It looks very different to the European cycling culture. So firstly, I grew up on a farm in the south of Namibia, a really, really big farm if compared to European standards. And there, from a young age, we'd always have bikes like a BMX that we'd go out and play on. And then when I was 15, there was a local marathon race not far from us, and that's where I told my parents I want to take part in that race for one weekend, and that was my first exposure to racing, and I really enjoyed it so much, and then it just started to build from there. So that's very, very briefly how it started.
So coming from Africa, how is it? How do you find the switch into Europe? How do you feel it, and what is your experience?
It's been very special for sure. Yeah, I think it's underrated, and I think a lot of the Europeans don't know how easy they have it actually, because I feel the biggest thing is coming from Namibia. The Namibian passport is not really strong at all, and normally we are only allowed 90 days in a 180-day rolling period. So you can come here for like a good racing block, but you can't. You always have to then go back home. So my goal was to come here and really base myself in Europe and race in Europe, which I've kind of achieved now. And it's never easy. You always see pictures of friends and family back home at gatherings, and you miss them. And I mean, for sure, one thing that has helped me a lot is my girlfriend is Danish, and it's someone who I can always look forward to speaking to, go and visit, or she comes here, and it's like connections like that make it worthwhile staying, I might say. Because sometimes if I could put it honestly, like after some really bad races, then you ask yourself, what are you doing here? You might as well just go back home. But I have a girlfriend here, and that motivates me, and it just picks you up, if you have a bit of a dark moment in that, it's a bit of a comfort. So that's helped me a lot. And you just have to make friends in the community. Like Girona is a nice place as well, because I know quite a lot of people here. So it's trying to get stuck into the community as fast as possible, which I feel I'm slowly achieving. So it's good to have a base here.
Yeah, and I assume you had to also to struggle or fight for the visa to be able to stay here a longer period. How was it, and how do you manage to get in? And are you able to renew it easily, or is it a struggle too?
It was a struggle to. So last year, first of all, if anybody wants to try and do that, I would definitely recommend working with one of the immigration agencies. For me, there'd be no way of doing it otherwise, because the laws and the regulations, it's, for me as an outsider, it's so complicated. There's no ways I'd do it otherwise. But last year I managed to get a 1-year residency permit, and that has to be renewed. Now there are some complications, I think, but more from the agency or the immigration system. I think they mixed up maybe some documents or that. So it's always like things like that I have in the back of my mind that are stressing me out a bit. But you learn to live with it, and you just have to put that aside and just think in the long run it's gonna turn out okay. I mean, otherwise there's no way you get over it.
Yeah, at least you have somebody to help you with this and to manage it for you. So it's not too stressful on a day-to-day basis. It's more on the period you need to renew it that could bring a bit of
Yeah,
stress.
yeah, exactly.
And have you learned to speak Spanish yet?
No, not yet. I'm I'm learning. My goal is to first learn Danish because my girlfriend is Danish, so that's that's going slowly. I wish it were going a bit faster. But then the next thing is to learn some Spanish. It's nice when you can go to the local bakery or the coffee shop and greet the person there in their language. So I'm working on it.
Yeah, cool targets aside of racing.
Yeah, exactly.
You are currently living in Girona, the absolute center of the European cycling bubble. Maybe you had experienced also other countries before arriving to Girona.
Yeah, Girona, it's like the capital for overseas cyclists to move to Europe. I started racing like professionally, where I got paid a salary and that in 2023. Actually, it started before that. I mean, I came to Europe. I came to Europe in, I think the first time was 2017, 2018. And I just traveled my coach from, yeah, he's the one who actually saw me at the mountain bike marathon event that I saw, and he went to my parents and to me, and he said he'd actually like to start coaching me, and so he became basically like a second dad to me. And 2018, we came over to Europe to race some cross countries, and then at that time, the UCI Development Center in Aigle in Switzerland, they were doing some scouting and they saw me at the races and they invited me to do like a short training camp in 2018, end of 2018, for like talent scouting identification. And then in 2019 they invited me for the whole season. So then I went to stay in Aigle at the UCI Center and was part of the mountain bike development program, which I think that was a really big shock coming from Namibia to stay in Switzerland. That was a big shock. It was a good time. I would have gone. The plan was to go back in 2020, but then COVID completely shut everything down, unfortunately, and also the development program stopped. At the time, they also had the road development program, so I often went for training rides with guys like Benjamin and Henok, some of the Eritreans, and yeah, that also unfortunately stopped. I think they have a women's development team now again, but not for the men. And then in 2021, 2022, I had a friend who had a connection with a cross-country team called Trek Valde, which turned into the Trek Future Racing. So then I was based in Austria for 2021 and 2022. Racing cross country, and then to be honest, my results in the cross country just weren't good enough to get a team in Europe, at least a team that could pay me a salary so that I could live from it. So then I actually went back to Namibia and was racing for a South African marathon team. What people maybe don't realize sometimes is the marathon racing scene and gravel now in South Africa. If you're one of the guys who can win races there, you can make quite a comfortable living for yourself. So 2023 I did in South Africa, 2024 as well. But the thing is, like, being in South Africa, it's nice. I got a nice car to drive around. It was really nice. But in my mind, you always like you want to achieve more. You know, Europe, being in Europe and racing in Europe is the main goal and the ultimate. So then, 2025, end of 2024, I was trying to get hold of some teams, and I did Chaka in 2024. Came over and did Chaka. I had quite a good race actually. We were a group of 7 or 8 riders in the final kilometers, and I was really confident in myself, and I was pretty sure I'd be able to get a podium. But then, like, I think 3Ks before the finish, I hit a rock and got a flat tire. So that was a bit annoying, but then that kind of fueled the fire for racing gravel in Europe. And then 2025 and this year I managed to get into touch with Swatt, and here we are now.
Yeah, we'll talk about later during the podcast of the structure you have right now with Swatt and how it works. So coming back on the mountain bike part, so you are double Olympian. What is the physical and mental toll of preparing for an Olympian cross country race on yourself during the I assume 2 years lead out with the qualification campaign and then the race?
Yeah, you have to, obviously you have to qualify the country, a spot first. And yeah, then it's just like personal preparation. And that's where I always think, especially, yeah, in all cycling disciplines, I feel that Africans are always at a disadvantage because you need exposure at the races. So that's why we'd come over, my coach and I would come over to Europe for 3-4 weeks and try and do as many cross country races as possible. I mean, because at the end of the day, you're racing against basically the Europeans and then a few Americans. So the race exposure and getting that at a young age is so important, I feel. So yeah, it's a tough one always.
Yeah, in every sport we are hearing athletes saying that it's a big mental toll also to prepare for the Olympics. You have a lot of stress and expectation on your shoulder because you are representing your country.
For me, it's always a big privilege to represent my country, and I think for every athlete can say the same. Most of the stress and the pressure just comes from myself, I feel.
If we talk about the transition in between mountain bike and gravel, now how do you translate an explosive 90-minute effort of a World Cup or an Olympic mountain bike race into the sustained 5-hour grind of the modern gravel racing?
That's for sure different. Although I feel when I was focusing more on the cross country stuff, I would be really strong in the start of a gravel race, and the repeated super hard efforts would be okay. And then, yeah, I'd always struggle with the longer stuff a little bit more. Now I feel it's switching a little bit. Maybe it's not such a good thing, but I'm trying to get the punch back now. Now I feel stronger on the slightly longer endurance stuff. And then, yeah, I've lost a little bit of the punchiness, but I think it's easier to get that punchiness back in training. But it also depends a lot on the course, I mean, like we saw Unbound, it's a proper grind. And even, yeah, some of the gravel races here in Europe, like Chaka as well. And then you have, yeah, it depends a lot on the course. I mean, you can have like a race in Zingen last weekend. It's like constant 2-3 minute full out efforts, or you have Unbound where it's just who can sustain the highest average power for the longest.
So are you selecting the races you are doing this year depending of your physical abilities now, which are moving a bit from what you are used to? So is the selection of the races you are doing evolving this year, for example?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, I'm 186 and 74, 75 kilos, so I'm not going to go and select a race in Switzerland with 3.5, 4,000 meters of climbing. So the route profile definitely plays a role for me.
Okay, so the 140, 30K race, really punchy with a lot of climbs, but not big ones,
Not big
which
ones.
you
Yeah.
spend a lot of time. How it is suiting you
Yeah.
better?
Yeah, they for sure suit me better. Yeah, definitely. Even, yeah, this year, it's like, for example, the trucker, it was quite special because we saw a lot of the pros choosing the 360 or 320, whatever. Yeah, 320, and some of them still opting for the 200. So yeah, you can kind of choose what suits you better. So yeah, it's still quite interesting, I feel.
Yeah, I don't know how long it will stay like this. Well, I heard rumors that they will maybe gather both races into one for the pros, at least for the elite. But
Yeah.
yeah, for now you have the choice.
Yeah, we have the choice still.
So that's cool. So coming back on the SWAT club and how it is organized, it's a crazy story. The SWAT club, it started back as a blog, and they are now running pro athletes teams in various disciplines: road cycling, gravel, also triathlon. I've seen recently, and they are supporting athletes. And the club was built in 2017 to break traditional amateur rules. So is it still a traditional structured team now with this spiritual collective of privateer enjoying freedom of calendar? Or do they support your transition into gravel? Or is it working?
I must say, with the team, they've been really supportive of the calendar, and they've given me like almost complete freedom to choose events, which I feel you don't get often in teams. Yeah, the team is definitely last year it was kind of broken into like a road team, a continent. No, they weren't continental. It was just a club team last year, and then the gravel side. And then this year they got a UCI license, so this year they continental, and then the few of us still racing on gravel. No, it's been good racing with them. It's been it's like, to be honest, working with the Italians is special because I always like to plan my events long in advance and know what's coming exactly. And sometimes the last minute planning has been really annoying for me. But other than that, the freedom that they give me to choose the races, it's really nice. And also the equipment and the spot and the brands that we have supporting the team are really good. So yeah, it's been really fun with them actually.
So how is it set up? They have partners for the global Swatt club, and you are taking advantage of it, or do you have also a choice of your own partners?
Mostly, no, we mostly have set partners like we on giant bikes, KDX wheels, Pirelli tires, Morton for nutrition. I have a private helmet sponsor, which each rider is allowed. It's a Namibian based insurance company. And yeah, other than that, it's kind of like brands that the team work with.
Are you alone on the European races, racing gravel for Swatt?
This No, we do have. Yeah, it's a bit tricky sometimes. Also now this year, I feel a lot more focus has gone onto the road team, and maybe some people can notice that on the social media side. There's a lot more happening on the road, so I do feel the gravel has taken a little bit of a back step. Understandably, I mean they managed to get some of the riders last year on the team into the World Tour, so it's huge credit to them for doing that and managing that. But normally we have a few races where the team will send all the gravel riders. Sometimes the road riders come and do them as well. And they'll bring a mechanic and a physio. And then the other races like Ranxo or Zingen, I'll just tell them, look, I'd like to do this one. And then they just cover the accommodation costs and the costs of getting there. And then support wise, yeah, it's like just finding friends who can help at the feed zones and that. So I kind of feel like there are quite a few other gravel races doing that as well.
Yeah, for sure. So on the big races, you have some support, and on the smaller one, you are more like a privateer.
Yeah, a little kind of. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, I see. So talking about this season and going back to 2025, you had some momentum last year with great results. And we've seen you fourth at Santaval, 9 at the Rift, second at Gravel Locos on the podium. So you were usually in the match for top position in the most of the season or big races. And this year, it seems a bit harder to grab the top spot. You finished 27 at the Hills, 33rd at Traca 200, then a good P8 at Ranxo. How do you analyze this shift in result? Because I've talked to many riders, and some of them told me about the pace pushing harder and harder during the whole race. So how do you see this? How do you feel? Is there something else about you also, the preparation or the race dynamic?
Yeah, it's always interesting. Like I feel for sure this year, I mean last year from 2024 to last year, it already felt like the level had gone up a step. And then yeah, this year now it feels like it's gone up another level as well. I also feel I think I switched coaches end of last year, and it's also been getting used to working with the new coach, seeing what works for me, what doesn't work. So it has definitely been tricky, and it has been rather quite annoying lately. But yeah, working with a new coach, it's not going to show immediately. So I just keep telling myself I have to be patient, and the results will come. So and I do feel I'm getting stronger now again. So when you mentioned earlier, maybe it's getting into a long season, I do not have that feeling at all. I feel like I can still do 30, 40 races. So yeah, I'm still excited for the races that are to come.
So the more you are racing this season, the better are your feelings. So it's always good to see this for the second part of the season. And do you feel that the race is dynamic, has evolved also with more guy pushing at the front since the beginning, less tactical races, or maybe the team dynamic also on some races?
Mm, yeah, it's the team dynamic for sure has started to play a role, I think. There again, I think it depends a lot on the course profile. I mean, Unbound, you can really have a team working together. And with some of the European races, if your teammate can be super strong, but then you can get into a single track section and then he's all the way at the back, and then it comes down to the rider himself. I think I prefer that if it comes down to the rider himself. And so it's gravel is in a very interesting stage, I feel, and I like trying to keep up with how the development is happening.
And comparing to what you were used to on the MTB scene, how does it translate? So you are more like riders who can push the first hour of the race to get to the front group and after work to stay into the front group, or you are more coming from the back and with your technical abilities from the mountain bike, you can work your way to the front. How do you see yourselves?
I'd prefer to just see myself as getting to the front and staying at the front. But at some of the last races, I've been at the front and then I've faded a little bit in the end. And at some like Ranxo, for example, I think I was position 30th after the first 10-minute climb, and then I just managed to get back towards the end. So I can't really see myself as a rider who's stays near the front and then drops or comes back at the end. Preferably gets to the front and stays near the front.
Okay, I see. And so let's discuss a bit about Rancho because you mentioned it. It is your, on the European scene, your best result of the year with the 8th place. So talk us through the race, how it went on the terrain you know perfectly because you are training there.
Yeah.
So let's go through the race from the start.
The start is interesting because it starts immediately with like a really steep 10 to 15-minute climb. Halfway up the climb, I just like completely felt like or close to the top, I just felt like my legs completely blew up. And then on the downhill, I could catch up some spaces, but there was this fairly big front group not far in front of us. And then I was riding with the Dutch guy, Piotr Havik, and he also told me the previous year he'd been in a similar situation, and if you just time your effort properly and continue to feel correctly, you can still be fighting for a top position at the end. So I rode really consistently with him, and then we just kept on catching people who'd blown up or small groups. And then I think the end we were a group of 5 or 6. I was getting really annoyed with some of the guys because like you always have them. I mean, I've probably done exactly the same, where for me, I've been dropped and I want to get back. So if I'm rolling with a group of guys and no one is really doing their turn, that really gets to me. Because like you want to save your legs and maybe have something left to finish 11th or 12th. That's a bit annoying. So, but luckily in the end, we were 5 or 6 guys riding, and then I think sprinting for the top 10, and I managed to come first from the group and get a top 10. Yeah.
That was a great race for 26, and we were talking just before the record about the last one you did in Singen, so in Germany, the Ego Gravel race. So same thing, talk us through the race. We are into a heat wave in Europe recently.
Yeah.
So how did you manage the heat? Did you train for this, and how the race went?
The heat festival was, for me, coming from Namibia, I'm pretty used to it. So also, well, when I was with my girlfriend in Denmark the week before, it was, I think they had their warmest day ever. It was like 37, and I mean it's warm for me, but it's like when it's not like I prepare or do specific heat training. Maybe I should because everyone is doing it nowadays. But for me in the race, I feel quite comfortable. I mean, I'm also cooling myself and throwing water over myself just because I know it really helps me. But I feel like I'm suffering a little bit less than some of the Europeans who are used to the colder temperatures. So now being in Girona with 30, 36, 37, 38 degrees, it's really nice. And I'm like, can we not do any races here in Spain now?
Yeah, it's a competitive advantage with your
Yeah,
background coming from Namibia. I assume it's really hot down there. Yeah,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
about the race. So, how was it? You started well. I think there was a big front group, and after it splitted in a smaller group.
Yeah, so I stayed at the front for like the first half a lap. And like I said, it was just super punchy. You just have to stay near the front. As soon as you go towards the back, the like after every corner you just sprinting full gas to stay in the wheel. So I think I managed that pretty well. And then there was like one slightly longer climb where it was, yeah, I just couldn't hold the pace that they were going up there. So then I had to let the front group go. And then for a long time, I was with 4 or 5 other guys, and we were just chasing, trying to get back because we could see the front group. They were constantly like 30 to 35 seconds in front of us, which was super annoying. But yeah, and then after that, I think the front group also started to really split up, and then you just get a group of 5 or 6 and 2 or 3 riding together and to the finish. So yeah, I was feeling good, but yeah, it's not the result I was aiming for. But yeah, we were focusing on the next one already.
Yeah, and talking about the result, what is your main goal for this season? We are seeing, let's say, split in the gravel riders' goals. Some are going for top races, trying to do good result on them. Others are trying to focus on series to grab maybe some point and have a good overall ranking at the end of the year to gain exposure. So, what is your goal on your side, and what is the race you are looking forward to do the most?
So at the moment, I think the goal would be to get a few top tens maybe in the next few UCI gravel races. The plan is to go back down to Namibia for August. Actually, we have African gravel championships happening there end of August. So having a few problems with my Spanish residency permit, which needs to be renewed. So trying to get that sorted and hopefully not jeopardize my African champs, because I'm also I'll be defending my title from last year. So hopefully I can go down in August and do that. And then the plan is to come back, do the gravel race in Denmark in September, and then the one in Girona here. Um, and then not 100% sure if I do gravel worlds in Australia yet. I'm not sure if the team will be sending any support or that. So it's also quite, if I don't want, one thing's for sure is I'll do gravel burn in October in South Africa. So that'll be the main goal, and yeah, finish off the season with that. And there it'll be hopefully to. I think it'll be difficult to try anything on the GC. I think the specialized Matt and Mads will be there. I know the Canyon team are going down as well. So I think the goal will be to maybe try and win a stage or two.
Okay, cool. So yeah, being close to Namibia, it's in your heart, I assume, and you
Yeah,
have lived in South Africa too, so you know the terrain and how hard is it to ride there.
exactly. Feels like a bit of a home race.
Yeah, and you've done it last year also, so you already experienced. So how is the race and how hard the guys are pushing in the front?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Talking about the bike and the setup you have, because it's something that is really interesting for all the all the listeners. Coming from the MTB, you are used to suspension, white tires that we are seeing more and more as something commonly used on the gravel bikes. So, what is your current gravel setup with the Swatt Club partners?
Like equipment, just equipment wise.
Yeah, equipment, and maybe if you had some choices that you've made. Also, with your experience on the MTB side.
Yeah. So at the moment we're using the giant Revolt Advanced. Last year with Shimano group set. So last year we used the 2x Ultegra, but for me, I can't do 2x on a gravel bike. I think coming from the mountain bike, I like the cleanness and the simplicity of 1x. So last year, before Shimano brought out the 1x system, yeah, it was driving me a bit nuts. I was having chain drops and everything, so it was a bit annoying. But this year I can't really complain. This year it's been much better with the 1x system. That's been really simple and efficient. And then tires, we have Pirelli tires. So I'll often switch between a 45 and a 50 millimeter tire from the gravel range. And then for some of the races where I know the terrain, or if I speak to some of the riders who've done the races before, if I hear it's really chunky, then I'll go with the 2.25 mountain bike tire from Pirelli. That for me is always the comfiest.
We are seeing more and more riders using MTB tires. How is you feeling about this? You are feeling more confident for sure with MTB tires, but regarding the rolling distance, are you feeling something, the tire which is wider and also heavier, or it's something that you don't feel and you will always go for larger tire if it's possible?
I do feel I think I switch quite a lot. I do like the current range of the gravel tire that the Pirelli guys have, especially for some of the UCI gravel races. There's often a lot of tarmac involved, so I do still feel a 45 millimeter slick gravel tire is a bit faster than a mountain bike tire. So then I'll opt for the gravel tire. But I think for something like gravel burn, I'll be 99% certain that I'll be using a mountain bike tire. Although I still need to test, Pirelli have brought out a 55 millimeter gravel tire, which is basically the same as a 2.25 mountain bike tire, and it looks like it rolls really fast. I haven't received any stuff from them yet, so I haven't been able to test it. But yeah, I'll definitely try and get my hands on those and see what they're like for gravel burn. But yeah, I think the safest will for sure be the mountain bike tire.
And regarding the drivetrain, so you already talk quickly about this, but I think the 1x or 2x debate has been finally settled.
For me, there's no debate. For me, it's this 1x.
Yeah, I understand this, but what are you riding the most in terms of front sharings and the cassette also with the mountain bike cassette we have now on the gravel setup? It's really easy.
Yeah, they do. So Shimano they have the two mountain bike cassettes, the 5110 tooth and the slightly smaller one 45/9. So I have the 45/9 tooth cassette with the 44 chainring. I'd actually prefer a bigger chainring up front and then the bigger cassette, the 1051 at the back. But yeah, I haven't. Yeah, we just got sent the smaller version from Shimano, so I still have to ask for the bigger one.
And last question about the tech with your mountain bike background. So are you riding mountain bike pedals or road pedals on most of the gravel races?
I actually prefer the road pedals, to be honest. For the longer races and the longer time in the saddle, that's just the road pedals, like the bigger contact area, just feels a bit more comfortable. I'm also fairly technically able rider, so I feel it's not often where I have to put a foot down, so that's not really an issue for me. I mean, if it's a super muddy day like Santa Fe beginning of this year, I think there I would have maybe run mountain bike pedals. But it's also difficult for me because I have a stack difference, slight leg difference, and it's easy on the road shoes to get spacers. On the mountain bike, I haven't had anything on the mountain bike pedals, but a few days ago, I actually managed to find something, and I'm having them sent to me. So that'll be that'll be good to test out that as well. But normally 99% of the time I'm on road shoes.
Yeah, only when it's really muddy or the condition suits a lot more the
Yeah.
SPD cleat and so on, you select the mountain bike pedal, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or if I know there's like a long section where you have to maybe get off and walk, but they're very few. They had it in the Trucker 360 last year, but I'm pretty sure they took that out for this year.
Okay. And this year you are only riding gravel, or you're still doing some mountain bike races, or maybe you envision to also ride on the road and race on the road. Are you strictly racing gravel, or are you open to do something else?
I'm always open to do something else. The mountain biking, I do miss the mountain biking a bit. I'm still waiting for the team and from Giant to send me the new mountain bike. They sent me the Anthem last year, and I did a few races on that. But this year, that's back home in Namibia. So I'm looking forward to try the new mountain bike and doing like considering some mountain bike races. Like I'll for sure like to do another cross country just for the fun of it, and it's still a really good training session. And the marathons, I find the marathons are unfortunately becoming like super specific. It's often like really quite short, like maybe 70, 80 kilometers with crazy amount of climbing. And like I said, I'm not the lightest. I'm not a climber. So I'm not going to go and do a race with 4,000 meters of climbing in it. So I hope they bring a few more like slightly normal, lumpier to flat marathons in, but who knows? And then on the road side, yeah, I'd obviously love to race on the road a bit as well. Last year, I managed to join the road team for a tour in the Czech Republic. This year, it's been difficult because obviously with Swatt being super popular, especially in Italy, I think there were a lot of riders that wanted to join the road team. So there's not, yeah, it's very seldom that there's space for one of the gravel riders to go and do a race. One of my teammates, Andreas Stockport, also from Denmark, he rides for Swatt on the gravel, but he still rides on the road for one of the Danish teams, Colo Quick. So for him, that's obviously nice. But yeah, I never got the right connections to any road teams. Also because road racing is virtually non-existent in Namibia.
Okay.
It used to be, I mean, South Africa had a good road racing scene years back, but that was before I started, and it's really died at the moment. And I do like it. It's something different, and I think it's super, super good training. So yeah, if there are any opportunities arising, I'll always be really glad and eager to take them.
So you are training also still on the MTB for technical abilities, or you're mainly ride gravel?
I've mainly been on the gravel now. Also because my mountain bike is
Yeah,
back in
Namibia.
Namibia. But for sure, when I get the new Giant mountain bike, I'll definitely go do some trails. Girona's, that's the nice thing about Girona as well. It's, you have a lot of mountain bike trails. You have amazing roads. You have amazing gravel roads to ride on. The variety it's amazing.
And Olympic Games. So do you see yourself now as a full-time gravel racer, or in the coming years, maybe you will have your eyes on some of the 2028 LA Olympics races, whether on the road or on the MTB side?
It's for sure not out of the question. I think Namibia has a really good opportunity to qualify a spot again, and I also try my best to help qualify for a spot. But then it'll also depend on the gravel and what my season will look like next year and the year after that. If I'm being paid to race gravel races, then that's the main focus. I don't think I'm going to be paid to race cross country. So I think it's a tricky one, but then again, it's always Olympics. If there's a shot at doing that, then you can definitely count me in.
Last question of the show. If you could win only one single race this season, it could be races you've already done or ones which are still on the calendar. Which one would it be and why?
I think it would have been Chaka this year if I could win one race. I think it's really the brands really know know the race now, and every rider, I think the event and the riders doing the event have really built up a big name. So if you win the Chaka, I think then that can really help your career.
Yeah, it could be life changing, like Unbound. There are 2 races now that we say that can change your life if you win it, and it's Unbound and
Yeah.
Chaka.
Yeah, exactly.
And regarding your ability, if you still have the choice next year in between the 200 and the 320, 360, whatever, but the longer one, which one would you pick?
I think I would have to make the call closer to the time. I think I'd still maybe at this point, I'd still maybe think more on the 200. Yeah, maybe the 200 in Chaka and then Unbound. But yeah, I think doing both Chaka, the long one, and then Unbound. Yeah, you have to be a special person. I mean, like the person who won both this year. I think you have to be a real talent. So at this stage, I'd maybe still stick to the 200. We'll see. You never know.
And would you like also to take part in some lifetime GP races outside of Unbound?
Yeah, for sure. I think those races also look really appealing for me. I don't think I'd sign up for the whole series. I think that's a different level of commitment. But some of the races in America just look really cool. Like I think a few weeks ago they had the Steamboat Gravel, and the pictures and everything. The whole vibe around those look really cool. Maybe like a sea otter, that would also be nice to do.
Yeah, and you don't think with your MTB background and your ability on the bike, the lifetime series with 3 races on gravel and 3 on the MTB could be something that you can be really strong
I mean,
overall?
yeah. I think I could. I could be quite good there. Also, like you say, with the 3 mountain bike races, I think it suits me. But if you look at the top 10 or even top 15 guys in the lifetime now, they are all good bike riders. So they can also all ride a gravel bike fast and a mountain bike fast. So it's not getting any easier. But yeah, if I had the opportunity, I would do some of them. But like I said, doing the whole series, I think you have to then focus on that, and you have to find a base there as well. A lot of my friends who've signed up for the Lifetime Grand Prix and done it, they've also said some of them have managed it, some of them have halfway through the year they've stopped or they've pulled out, and just because flying backwards and forwards to America, it's hard on the body, and sometimes it maybe gets a bit too much. So unless I knew I had a good friend who I could go and stay with in Boulder maybe, or someplace like that, then I'd maybe consider it.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, thanks a lot for your time and the discussion. It was nice to discover a bit more about you. And what could we wish you for the rest of the season to close the show?
You can wish me some good legs.
Good luck
Yeah.
on all the races, some top 10 finish, and maybe to climb on the box
Yes,
on one of
exactly.
them.
Yeah, that would be really nice. Thanks for your time. It was nice to chat.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, have a good rest of the season. We'll follow your result, and I'll link all your social media, Instagram account, and so on, and in the show notes, so people can follow your journey and your
Okay,
result.
perfect. No, thanks, man.
Thanks. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Gravel Paddock. If you want to stay ahead of the peloton, the best thing you can do right now is hit that subscribe or follow button. If you enjoyed the deep dive, please drop a 5-star rating and leave a comment. For more inside access between episodes, follow us on Instagram at the Gravel Paddock. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode. Ride hard.